Namaste Saraswati Devam Bhavani Vichani Sheshasani Vashte. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 6, Creation of the Universal Form. Today, text 11. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatamidasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumritam Mena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Atha Tasya Abhi. Sorry, let me just do the full verse first. Atha tasya bhi taptasya kathi dhayatananiha niravidiyanta devanam tani me gataha shinu. Athayatasya vipatasya kathidayatatanina niravidyanta devanam tani me gadata shinu. Athayatasya vidaptasya kathidyayatananiha Niraviyanta devanam tani me gadata shinu. Atha, therefore, tasya, his, abhitaptasya, in terms of his contemplation, kathida, how many, ayatanani, embodiments, ha, there were, niravidyanta, by separated parts, devanam, of the demigods, tani, all those, me gatataha, described by me, shrinu, just here. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Maitreya said, "You may now hear from me how the Supreme Lord separated himself into the diverse forms of the demigods after the manifestation of the gigantic universal form." Please repeat. Maitreya said, "You may now hear from me how the Supreme Lord separated himself into diverse forms of the demigods after the manifestation of the gigantic universal form." Demigods are separated parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord, as are all other living entities. The only difference between the demigods and the ordinary living entities is that when the living entities are rich in pious acts of devotional service to the Lord, and when their desire to lord it over material energy has vanished, they are promoted to the posts of demigods, who are entrusted by the Lord with executing the management of universal affairs. Translation again. Maitreya said, "You may now hear from me how the Supreme Lord separated himself into the diverse forms of the demigods after the manifestation of the gigantic universal form." Jnanatrindasya Gyananjanashrakaya Chaksuranmritamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So, we're reading about creation of the universe, the universal form, demigods. Today we're reading about the management system of the universal affairs of the creator of the universe. There's behind any kind of manifestation, nothing happens by chance. There's management. You go out into the city of Hyderabad, go into the streets. So many things are going on. There's vehicles, there's traffic lights, there's police, there's traffic control, different types of vehicles are going this way, that way. Then you look around you, hospitals and shops and stores, and people are walking. Everything that we see, there's some, maybe very minute, but there's some management and organization behind all of that. You see this building over here, just this arrangements for the morning services here, whether it's Arti or Kirtan or Darshan of the deities, or preparing prasadam, morning prasadam. There's some arrangement being made by somebody who has the capacity to make the arrangement, right? Nothing happens by chance. So it's only the very foolish consciousness, very dim intelligence, they think that there's no arrangement. But in human species of life, even the tribal formulas, tribal forms of human form, according to Vedic books of authority, knowledge, even in the human species, there's categories, different grades of intelligence, different grades of strength, knowledge, capacity, talents. 400,000 species categories are there. So in those 400,000 categories, on this planet, Prabhupada has stated that all 400,000 species are not on this planet. Much reduced number. But the other species are there, for example, in other planets. Devatas are there, some of the species. Then there's lower species. But on this planet, anybody knows how many species Prabhupada has said? 200, yes. 200, 300 sometimes. That's what he said. So the human species, which I think we are all included from my understanding, although sometimes I think that I'm less than human being, but maybe not, by grace of Prabhupada. We have the capacity to understand these things, that there's management behind anything that we experience. Nothing happens by chance. The animals don't understand that. You think you can go, if you can go and speak to the monkey, or maybe you want to have a meeting with a tiger, and you have a conversation with the tiger. So, Mr. Tiger, what do you think about the universal affairs? What do you think the tiger is going to say to you? When you speak to some dog or cat, or some insect or mosquitoes, you try and have a conversation with any other species about the universal management. They have no capacity. to even begin to understand these things, because the intelligence in those species has been greatly reduced by the arrangement of higher authority. So until they come to the human form, that intelligence does not surface. So, and even in the human species, 200, 300 species on this planet, there's different grades of understanding, but we read from the Shastra and we know that there's some acceptance that there's some higher control. Most, even the tribal forms, like in Africa, they accept the sun worship or some worship of some higher being, higher form, higher force. In the West now, the impersonalists will talk about higher control, but ultimately they talk about merging. But they acknowledge there's some higher control. But that is not sufficient. Our human form is those who have taken birth, especially described in the scriptures in Bharatvarsh. Prabhupada describes Bharatvarsh in different ways, different times. But it's clear those who have taken birth with these bodies called Indian bodies, especially in this part of India, the south part. Amongst those 200, 300 species, you have a much greater advantage to understand these kinds of concepts. If you try and have a conversation about universal management and demigods in most other parts of the world, if you talk about demigods, what do you think they're going to say to you? They think that this is backwards thinking, primitive thinking. You're not cultured, you're not civilized, and therefore you think you're talking about devatas and demigods. And behind the movement of the sun, behind air, behind wind, behind rain, behind the birth of every species according to their previous karma, that there's some higher control. People cannot understand these things. Why? Because they're not pious. What are we reading here? That when jivas become sufficiently pious and free from material desire, free from sin, then they can be given post in the management system of the Lord. So the qualification has to be there. Not everybody can take the post of some demigods. So similarly, not everybody can understand these kinds of things. So actually it's very difficult for most people. So it's on the other hand, it's very easy for those who have taken birth in South India. It's very easy. So important to make this commitment to take advantage of this very, very rare opportunity. There's so many species of life, 8,400,000 species. 400,000 species are humans, 200, 300 species on this planet. Out of those 200, 300 species, how many in South India? Out of those 200, anybody knows? 10, 15, 20, 30, 50? Not many. So it's a very small group of people take advantage and help others also take advantage of the human form of life. This is the Vaishnava Acharya, Srila Prabhupada's prayer and his compassion that this human life which we have received after how many births, we don't know. How many species of life, we don't know. It would be interesting if there was some kind of a photo book and we can open the book and see all our previous lives in the book. I was a snake in this life, I was insect in this life, I was a dog in this life, there I am in the cat body, there I am in the fish body, there I am in the tree body, there I am in that bird body, there I am in this body, that body, It would be good if every day we could open and remind ourselves what journeys we have taken in the past. And also, if there was some kind of a prediction meter that would show us, okay, based on our activities, then in 100 years from now, we will have this form of life. And then, so the future, so many destinations are possible. So unfortunately, or fortunately, we don't remember our previous lives. It would be very confusing actually, if we had to remember all our previous lives and all our previous relationships. This is my wife from my dog life. These are my children from my cat life. These are my parents from my bird life. It would be totally mind-boggling to deal with those kinds of things. So the Lord has designed creation and our human life in such a way that we get amnesia, we forget these things, so we can focus on this life. Focus is important, right? Every day we know that focus is so important. So focus on this life, focus on today, focus on this moment, take full advantage and make our lives perfect and help as many people as we can with these simple, wonderful gifts Prabhupada has given. Maha Mantra, Krishna Prasadam, and transcendental knowledge. 3 things are our main gifts we have received and which we want to share with others. These 3 things. What is the time now? 8:30. Okay, so this arrangement in this universe is beyond our capacity to observe. Like right now, let's say the Prime Minister of this country, Shri Narendra Modi, let's say that he is having a schedule of meetings today to run this country. But you and I have no access to those meetings, right? We don't know who he's meeting with, we don't know what the agenda is, we don't know what the plans are, we don't know what the discussions are. We have no access, but the meetings are going on. Whether it's a national level, state level. Let's say in the US, the president, vice president, they're meeting and they're having discussions about how to deal with this issue, that issue. They're discussing, they're making plans, they're giving orders, directives, things are going on. So I was telling earlier about every little situation in Hyderabad, but any level, things are going on, people are involved with managing, arranging. So similarly, the management meetings for universal management are going on. These demigods are meeting, but we don't have any access to those meetings. They're making decisions, they're controlling, they are directing, they are doing things that affect us on a daily basis. But we don't see the hand of the demigods who are acting under the direction of the Lord. We don't see these things going on, but they go on. Just requires some intelligence to understand our limits and our access based on our limits to what is available to us and what is not. And having that common sense to accept the reality of what actually is happening in this life. It requires just a little bit of common sense to understand these things. But unfortunately, because of our impious activities and our, I said the other day, SIN. What does SIN stand for? Self-inflicted nukes. So what happens with the self-inflicted nukes? The whole system of our intelligence, our brain, our senses, our mental function, everything, our emotions, everything gets messed up by sin. So that means we cannot think clearly, we cannot feel clearly, we cannot plan clearly, we cannot understand clearly. Sin messes everything up. We cannot function properly anymore. So that is why people cannot understand these things. Very difficult for them to relate to what would look like common sense to us. Those who have taken the path of purification, or they have the good fortune of coming from previous pious lives, and they can quickly understand these things. But most people, unfortunately, they will open these same pages, they will read the same verses and purports, and they get no real understanding. They get benefit because they have heard the words of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and purports of pure devotee Srila Prabhupada. They get benefit. But beyond that, very little understanding is there. How many books have been passed out? More than 500, 600 million books have been printed and circulated all over the planet. But do we think that 500 million people understand Krishna consciousness or are practicing? No. Because they live very clouded and confused and contaminated lives. So I think I'll stop here. We want to live pious lives. We're not interested in becoming demigods. Anybody here wants to be a demigod in the universal management? Maybe you get charge of managing, what would you like to manage? Rain? You want to manage rainfall? How about the movement of the planets? Planets are moving wonderfully. Cannot even know this planet is moving, the orbits and the movement of the planets, the rotation, the revolution, movement of the sun. Anything you want to manage, you can make application and then qualify yourself. But devotees mostly don't want to go down that path of universal management. So we want to just reclaim our original constitutional relationship, as we were discussing last few days. Go back home. So I was speaking to the devotees. We don't want to stay in this prison house and simply go from one prison term to another. And now we're getting a chance to get out of prison, and we're saying, no, I want to stay here in this prison only. I want to take a chance. I want to go from Hyderabad prison to Bangalore prison. That'll be a good change for me. And then from Bangalore prison, I want to go to Chennai prison. That'll be a good change for me. And within the prison, I want to move from east part of the prison to the west part of the prison. That'll be progress for me. So we don't want to stay any longer in this horrible material life. Who knows when Mahaprabhu brings this wonderful Sankirtan movement, only once in the day of Brahma, right? So what is one day of Brahma? How many years of human life? 4.3 billion, no? Is that right? 4.3 billion years of our calculation is one day of Brahma. So in one day of Brahma, Mahaprabhu and his assistants like Srila Prabhupada, they come only once in one day of Brahma. So sometimes I think if I was told that there's a flight to go back home, back to Godhead, there's one flight next week, but the next flight is after 4.3 billion years. You want to wait that long? Actually, it's not 4.3 because the night of Brahma is there also. It's 8.6 billion years. Or you're given, you can use these kinds of mental calculations to motivate ourselves intelligently. Let's say we are told that I can get some prasadam now, but the next meal is after 8.6 billion years. So you want to wait for 8.6 billion years to get your next prasadam? No, not to finish the business. So take full advantage every moment. We'll make mistakes. To err is human, Prabhupada would say that. We'll make mistakes. But those mistakes should not become reasons for us giving up the process, giving up the journey, giving up the practices, giving up the opportunity. We'll make mistakes. Others will make mistakes. It's part of being fallible. So we tolerate each other's mistakes, stick together. I saw in your prasadam room that saying is there from Prabhupada. What is he saying? Stay in the association of devotees. Some of the other stick to the process. And success is guaranteed. Whatever else one may think or not think, this much from experience, not only Prabhupada's words are there, but experience I can say, success is guaranteed. There is no question of failure. No question of failure. Success is guaranteed. Okay, so I'll stop. Any questions, comments, anything? Yes.
Hare Krishna. Just to query, whether in the West the preaching still is it a difficult task, or people are still having the queries to think about the life and inner self? Is it going on, or how is it like?
My observation is that this human form of life already, I said, is rare. It's meant for us to understand the purpose of life, the goal of life. And Prabhupada writes in the introduction of Bhagavad Gita that humanity has made enough progress materially, but there's a pinprick. People are searching, and they're not finding the solution within their traditional paths which are all watered down anyway, whether it's some Christian, there's so many, I think there's 2,000 brands of Christianity. So Hinduism also, there's so many types of so-called Hindu paths, and so people are searching, but they're victims of misunderstanding, and actually they're victims of deception. And that is what Prabhupada is trying to clear up. People don't understand how they've been misled, deceived, including within many of the ISKCON type of situations. Not your group here, but there's so much deception and defrauding. Like one time Prabhupada was asked about Christianity, and Prabhupada said, "What Christians? There are no Christians." Remember that? No Christians. He said, "We are the only Christians." Now you say that, people will think you're mad when we say we are the only Christians. So the people are searching, but there's so much noise there, so many ways for them to be misled, that it becomes a very difficult path. So that is where we have to use our intelligence. How to get this into the lives of other people. We have this, according to time, place, circumstance, which is what Prabhupada has shown, and which is what we have to do. How to introduce and bring this kind of understanding and practice into the lives of the ordinary people, not just the people who were hippies, maybe like in the old days, or now the Hindu communities are helping ISKCON. No, this is meant for all categories of people, and we have to rack our brains how to help these people. And in my view, we have not done a good job. We have not done a good job at all. Many reasons for that, another discussion. We have not done a good job. So we should feel badly that we have not done a good job and something must be done. We pray to the Lord, we pray for guidance. How to somehow become beneficial, of beneficial influence in the lives of others. So Krishna may make opportunities for each one of you differently. We don't know, as the journey goes on. But there's a great need for these understandings, and there's great opportunity. We have to qualify ourselves. We have to qualify ourselves.
So adding to the same query, like how do you convince the outside in the West generally, like physical presence is not important for the Guru?
Physical, for the Guru, you mean? But Prabhupada wanted us all to be Shiksha Gurus. And Shiksha Guru is the same as Diksha Guru. So we should not be confused. Prabhupada has his own key role. He's the one who is teaching others through his books, but he's also teaching others through us. We're representing him. So even a child can be Shiksha Guru. No? We've read that. So all of us, we have a chance to be Guru, but Guru doesn't mean this false type of display of what Guru means. Attention on myself. I'm important. I am this, I am that. I want to be worshipped. I want to have disciples. That's not Guru. Guru is not thinking I'm Guru. Guru is simply thinking how to help others. So that Shiksha responsibility is there for every one of us. And Prabhupada has clearly said the world needs millions of such persons who are helping other people. But now it's so contaminated in so many ways, so we have to fix it somehow. Which your group is trying to do that, and you're doing it. Lot more to do, lot more work to do. Maybe this this combination, sometimes it's a combination of different things. Combination of it may be combination of Akshapatra and the temple in Vrindavan and the temple here and temple in Chennai, prasadam distribution, opening of restaurants everywhere, social media, online marketing. So many ways that we can push forward. So every opportunity is, that's presented to us, we should take advantage of it. And progress comes in steps. We have long ways to go, and it's unfortunate. It's so many billions of people are coming, living this human life, and leaving their bodies without understanding any concept of Krishna consciousness. Very unfortunate. Who knows what kind of birth they have taken? What else?
Hare Krishna. So, one of the devotees' memory of the Srila Prabhupada's last days, pastimes. So, he shares that when he visits Srila Prabhupada on bed in Vrindavan, so Prabhupada immediately asks him, "How is your health?" So that devotee is completely moved because Prabhupada has not taken any food or anything, only just surviving on Charnamrut for a few weeks or months like that.
Right.
So here Prabhupada is asking me, how is your health? So he is completely moved by that one. So like that, if you see that Srila Prabhupada's last final pastimes, that Antilila, so it seems that Prabhupada is never affected by whatever that his disciples, that ambitious disciples has done to him.
Right.
So it seems that his passing away is just like Bhishma Deva or Srila Haridas Thakur on their own will. Just would like to hear from you.
No, it's correct. What Prabhupada said during those days that Krishna has given me, he's let me, telling me you decide, you want to stay when you want to leave, like Bhishma. So Prabhupada left when he wanted to, not because of what was going on. And it's a Leela because there's a message behind it. I was saying yesterday, the pastimes of Ram are not complete without Ravana. It must be there. Both things must be there. So, yes, Prabhupada left, but he has also not left. That is the thing. If you read the pastime of installing the Archas, Vigrahas in Vrindavan, 1975, when he installed his murtis of Bhakti Siddhanta and himself in Krishna Balaram temple on the Gaur-Nitai altar, he was asked, why you are installing these deities? You are still with us. So Prabhupada said, yes, but these deities are non-different from me. Just like here we know, Nishingadev is here, right? It's not just some rock or stone. Your Radha Govinda are here, Gaur-Nitai are here. Prabhupada is here 100%, not 96%, not 82%, not in some limited way. Prabhupada is fully present all the time with us. So when Prabhupada established the deities in Vrindavan, this is what he said, that now I am here with you just like the deity. He quotes Sakshat Dharetena Samastasaste, that no difference between me and the deity now that is present. And then he's instructed that these deities, as we have done, all over the world, these deities of Prabhupada and Bhaktisiddhanta should be established. So what does that mean? Has Prabhupada, is he gone? Has he disappeared? We see appearance, disappearance, there's no difference, right? So if there's no difference, then why not say the disappearance means appearance? But the mundane person will think disappearance means gone. But the proper vision is disappearance, appearance is the same. And Prabhupada is given now this Archa Vigraha to be with us all the time. And he's available in full potency, in full function. Prabhupada is available in full function. So if he's available in full function, that means he can hear your glorification, your chanting, your prayers. That means he can chastise you also, right? He can guide you, instruct you. Can he also initiate you? If he's fully present, can he also initiate? Yes or no? So full functions mean everything he was doing before, he's doing now, and this will go on for the next 10,000 years. Only the misinformed or the unintelligent or the envious person will deny Prabhupada's presence. Envious person. Anything else?
Hare Krishna. Last lecture you were telling that in the same person in Kali Yuga, envious and good qualities are there. And that means there is always, I may not know that I am doing something wrong because I may think whatever I am doing is correct only.
Right.
Maybe it's like how I can find out that I am doing something wrong which is hampering Prabhupada mission, even though it may look for me that I am doing it correctly?
It's a good question. Devotees like to live very open life. Open means full disclosure. Full disclosure means what are the principles that we are given in nectar instruction about what are the 6 principal exchanges amongst devotees? Prasadam, gifts, and thoughts. So, any thoughts we may have that may perhaps be not helpful or good, we should be able to discuss with others. That's part of loving exchange. So, we must learn how to disclose our mind to others. And when somebody else discloses their mind to us in confidence, we must learn how to help them deal with their doubts or questions or lack of clarity. So this revealing of mind to other Vaishnavas, to our authorities, this is the way to minimize those kinds of mistakes. Is that okay? Yes.
So the Prabhupada's first generation disciples recently one by one is passing away. Even after 10-15 years there will be no more Prabhupada's first generation disciple. Then how come the Prabhupada's real glories will be spread for 10,000 years? Because the maybe in opposite camp and all, they will be having one more guru. The Prabhupada's real position may be diminished. So it is looks like some how come it will be spread for 10,000 years?
Because nobody can stop Krishna's plan. Even 1,000 deviant gurus, so-called gurus, even 1 million so-called deviant gurus, even 10 million deviant gurus cannot stop Krishna's plan. So we should have that confidence that what Krishna wants will be fulfilled. And our business is to understand what is our duty within that plan. We shouldn't be concerned so much about so many different assignments, duties are being given to different people. Krishna has it, just like we're reading management of the universe, right? It's not just one demigod. There's 33 million, or still this is unresolved issue. Some places 330 million, some places said 33 millions. So we do our duty, and somehow there is a plan, and it'll all work out. This is Mahaprabhu's, Lord Krishna's mission. It is not something small, and as I said earlier, once in the day of Brahma, it is a very special time. It's a very special time. But the opposition and the obstacles will come. That's part of how things go forward. So we should stop. Thank you very much for your association, and wish you all the best. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
హరే కృష్ణ గోల్డెన్ టెంపుల్ వారి మరో అపురూప కానుక హరే కృష్ణ వాణి ఆధ్యాత్మిక మాసపత్రిక. ఇప్పుడు మొబైల్ యాప్ ద్వారా కూడా సులభంగా పత్రికలు చదువుకునే సౌకర్యం, వార్షిక సభ్యత్వం, భగవద్గీత, భాగవత ప్రవచనాలు, స్ఫూర్తి సందేశాలు, ఇంకా మరెన్నో సదుపాయాలతో హరే కృష్ణ వాణి మొబైల్ యాప్ నేడే డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకోండి. మరిన్ని వివరాల కోసం కాల్ చేయండి 913310